Is my screen on?
Yes, we can see your screen.
Yeah, great. It's a privilege and honor to be here with you all to spend this evening. A very good evening to each and every one of you. So, since I'm not so familiar to everyone, let me introduce myself. A couple of words about me. I am Alan. I'm a medical student here in India. I'm studying in Salem Medical College. I'm also part of a ministry called Reasonable Faith. I'm the chapter director of Reasonable Faith here in India. So that will be about myself. So without further ado, let's dive into the topic. We have limited time remaining. So about the title, when Jesha Chajan sent you all the poster of today's session, you may have wondered what it means to be in a post-truth culture. So let me unpack that for you in a very short way. So what it means to be in a post-truth culture. We all live today in a postmodern world, or in other words, a post-truth culture. The context or the setting we all live in is a setting where there is no value for truth. There is no objective standards for truth. Everything is subjective. You can have your truth. I can have my own version of truth. There is no objective basis for morality. When morality is subjective, we can see the wave of abortion or homosexuality, everything hitting the West, and soon it's going to take over the entire world. So that's the problem with this culture. There is no value for truth, and it's depreciating. So we all have to be equipped to face these challenges in today's world. Now or in future, you have to be ready to face these challenges, because we are going to face them in colleges or in schools, or maybe in future after many years. So that's the context that I've set today's talk in. I'm not going to talk about postmodernism or a post-truth culture. I just wanted to set that context. I'll be talking about some very important things, some very fundamental truth claims about Christianity and apologetics. So this will be a quick overview of what we are going to see today. Yeah. Yeah. What it means to say a worldview. The term worldview, it's a complex term. It basically means a belief system. It's not a religious term. Whether you're religious or non-religious, it's applicable to you. So every person in this world has a worldview, even if they are not aware of it. For example, if you're a Christian or if you're born to a Christian family, your worldview will be conditioned to be a Christian worldview. If you're a Muslim, it will be an Islamic worldview. If you are a Hindu or Buddhist, it will be a pantheistic worldview. Or, for example, if you are an atheist, it will be a materialistic or naturalistic worldview. So every person in this world has a worldview. As I said before, our worldview affects everything we do, our personal choices, how we live, how we spend our money, our career, how we treat our parents, everything, basically everything. Our worldview influences them all. So it's important to have a very strong foundational Christian worldview, as long as you are genuine Christians. So every worldview must address some basic questions like how we all came here, what is the meaning and purpose of life, how we can differentiate between right and wrong, what's gonna happen to the world and humanity at the end. So all worldviews should address these fundamental questions, whether it is an theistic worldview or whether it is an atheistic worldview, all has to address these important questions. So what it means by theology. Theology means study of God and his nature. And apologetics is a branch, it's a subdivision of Christian theology, which seeks to provide a rational justification for the truth claims of Christian faith. I know you are all familiar with this. You guys got a really good mentor there, Brother Jace, who is really interested and passionate to train you all with this apologetic element of the Christian faith. So you all should be privileged and thankful to God for that, because we live in a world here in India. If talking about the situation here, even big, sophisticated, old traditional churches, they are not aware of the importance of apologetics. That's the condition here. They will say it's not needed in evangelism. Why should we learn? Why should we use it? That's their approach to this entire field of theology. So basically, you all should be you are really gifted with such a mentor like Brother Jayesh, who is so passionate about apologetics. I'm not going to spend much time about apologetics, since you all are already familiar with that. This is the basic keywords which we take to define apologetics, what we see in 1 Peter 3:15. Yeah, apologetics is an expression of loving God. We can see in Mark 12:30, we love our God with all our heart, all our soul, and all our mind. We have to love God with our intellectuals and our mind. Then we can see in Bible examples of Jesus doing apologetics. We can see the examples of Paul doing apologetics. We can see in Acts 17 the famous Mars Hill sermon of Paul. So that will be a biblical approach to what apologetics is. So, and few examples of that. Why should we learn apologetics in this setting, in this cultural setting we all are in? To understand the gravity of this question. That's why I basically laid down that context for you in the beginning, because we all live in a very progressive and liberal culture. Even this progressive Christianity is penetrating into our churches and into our theologies. So we all should have very sound doctrines and theology, so that we all don't fall for all these false doctrines that is entering into our churches. And even in our colleges, in this cultural setting where this postmodernism and post-truth culture is taking over everything, your college, your media and news channels, your movies, the songs the musicians are putting out, so everywhere it's hitting. So we all need strong foundations as Christians to stay active in this world as ambassadors of Jesus Christ. So basically, it strengthens our faith. To better know our faith, we can use apologetics. Then we can use it as a tool to share our faith more effectively to our friends or to our family, in our college, in our universities, wherever we are asked to give reasons for our faith. We can use this apologetics as a tool in evangelization. As I said earlier, it also shapes the public square, the culture, education, media, everywhere you can use this, so that you will have a clear worldview, a clear perspective on how to see various issues. Maybe it may be related to politics, maybe it may be related to a movie. So whatever it is, you need strong, clear thinking. You need to critically think. You have to think clearly. So apologetics will help you that, and also it will give you a really strong Christian base, Christian foundations for doing all those. As I mentioned earlier, it will teach us sound doctrines, so it will help to prevent doctrinal apostasy in church. So it can be also used to provide rational answers, to give answers for those people who are asked to give reason for our faith. When we are challenged in college, when some of your friend or your family who's not a believer, who's not a Christian, is asking you why you are a Christian, why you are believing in God, is the Bible corrupted? They're just posing that question to you, maybe on a train, maybe on bus, wherever you are. We have to be ready. That's what 1 Peter 3:15, every time we have to be ready. We have to be equipped to share and defend our faith. So this is an area today where I want to spend some considerable amount of time. But doubt. The reason why I chose this title, Beauty of Doubt, is doubt is often seen in our society as a bad thing, as a negative thing. So that's why I ironically chose this title. to say that doubt is not bad. It's a beautiful thing. It's really good. For example, you may have gone to your pastor or your parents asking about some biblical story or biblical doubts, and they may have told you just pray about that. They may not have addressed that. I'm not talking about sense. So that's what happens usually. People are not ready to address these genuine doubts, and doubts are important because it precedes conviction. For example, all of us have doubts, right? Like in even not biblically, we will have doubts in our math class, maybe in our science class, we'll have doubts about a math problem. So what we do, what happens if we don't address and give a really nice response to those doubts? We'll see in a moment. Yeah. Doubt is human and universal. It is natural. It is a very natural thing. As humans, we have good rational brain. We have intelligence. We have rationality, all that intentionality. So as humans, it's natural to doubt, right? Every genuine seeker has a doubt. Doubt is a good thing. When we doubt, we are questioning something's quality or its goodness. For example, to give an illustration, you are going to buy a car with your dad. So what your dad does is he will ask every possible questions or doubts he has to the salesman in that showroom, right? Maybe you can relate to that. He will ask about the quality of the car, he will ask about the mileage, he will ask anything and everything about that car, right, before buying, before being convinced to buy that car. So doubt checks the quality of something, of the substance we are going to feed on. Also, doubt precedes strong conviction. Before having a firm belief in something, and an honest person question everything about it. Um, there's a reason why I put that honest person in bold, because if you're only honest about something, you will ask doubt. If you're just naive about something, you're not going to ask. You're just going to you are going to be really apathetic, and if you have a I don't care attitude, you're not going to ask doubts and questions. If you really care about something, if you are a genuine and honest seeker, you are going to question something, right? For example, as I said, in a math problem, if you really want to learn and to give some good grades, you are going to really understand the questions. Whenever you get a doubt in one of the steps, you are going to get help. You're going to go and ask the teacher about that, right? If you don't ask her, or if you don't care about that at that time, you are going to mug up, and it won't really help. That's not the real way to be done there. So every honest person questions about everything that they are going to believe in. So there are many myths in our churches, in our Christian community. We may have heard, or we may have thought about this ourselves. Like doubting makes you less spiritual, or it's not a bad thing. It shows that you are spiritually weak. So I want to encourage you. I want to tell you that doubting doesn't make you less spiritual. Doubting doesn't make you inferior to others who doesn't have doubts. So as I said before, it's a good thing. You doubt because you are human and it's natural. It's a God-given ability. So we have to utilize that really well. We don't want to be misled in our journey, in our spiritual journey, or in our journey of this world. We have to be guided properly. So it's okay to doubt. It's okay to ask questions. Yeah. So there are different kinds of doubt that we all know. I'm not going in detail here because time is running. If we have time at the end, I will just come back to the slide. Yeah. So Jude 22 says, "Be merciful to those who doubt." That should be the Christian response to doubt. So I want to tell here today that do not suppress your doubts. As I said before, if you suppress a doubt, in a step of the math problem, you're going to end up in trouble during the examinations, right? In the test, you're not going to do pretty well because you have suppressed that doubt. Sometimes, and as an alternative, you will try to mug it up all the steps and all, but you won't be really understanding what's happening there, and you will forget that during the examination. So when a test comes, you cannot stand. Similarly, in our Christian life, when you have a doubt about something, about who is God, what is the nature of God, how did Christianity begin, did Jesus really rise from the dead, like that questions, like that doubts, when it comes to your Christian life, do not suppress it. The problem is, when you suppress it, it will be imprisoned. You will be imprisoned to your doubts. And when the storms of life, or a period of testing comes to your life, there are high chances that you are going to be swayed or moved by those storms of life if you don't have strong foundations for your beliefs. That's why if you stop asking questions, you stop growing. Same way, even in our Bible study, even in our spiritual journey, if you stop asking questions and learning, you stop growing. So it's a mature way to ask questions and to learn whatever we can learn about the Bible, theology, apologetics, and everything. So suppressed doubt leads to imprisonment. Then you stop growing, you stop caring about that, you lose that sense of adventure, and it will affect your entire worldview. There are good alternatives to suppressing doubt. Rather than finding an escape, you can approach it like a good doctor or a physician. You can investigate it. You can prescribe some medicines for that. You can be confident. It will let confident belief form through study and reflection. That is supposed to be done instead of suppressing doubt. You have to study that question. When you get a question, you have to get guidance. You have very nice people like Brother Jace, whom you can approach with your questions related to Bible or apologetics. You can approach him with your questions. He will give you proper resources and guidance how to study that. The reason I don't suggest Google or internet without the guidance of a person who is not familiar with this apologetics is there are lots of deceptive materials out there. So make sure that you take guidance first. So study and reflect on those questions. As I have heard today, you guys are having vacation, I think. So it's good time you can spend on learning the word, learning apologetics, investigating your questions, common questions to Christian faith. So a stronger faith can emerge through a siege of doubt. That's what Charles Hummel said. Yeah. This is another segment I wanted to address today in today's talk. Faith. It is such a common and frequently used term in our setting, in our church, during every sermon, every Sunday meeting, for all the meetings, all the services, you hear this term. But oftentimes we all don't know the actual meaning of this term, the real biblical meaning of this term. Let me quickly define that for you. Faith is trusting in something which you have good reasons to believe is true. It is not a wishful thinking. A biblical faith is not a blind faith. It is a reasonable faith. It is a rational trust or commitment you are placing on something. And biblical faith is founded on facts, not on feelings or on emotions. The problem with founding your faith on feelings is emotions are really subjective thing. It can change from time to time. If today I am happy and I'm all good, I'm going to pray, I'm going to sing songs, that won't be the case tomorrow I may be in distress, I may be in trouble. So the same thing won't happen. So my faith will change, my faith will be saved by this life altering situations. So you need to base your faith on the strong foundations so that you can be strong and mature Christians. So when the storms of life hit you, you won't be swayed easily because you have strong foundations. As Jesus said in his parable, you have to build house upon the rock. So when the rain and storm comes, you're not going to fall away. I'm not going to spend time on this slide also due to lack of time. Yeah. Okay. So quickly, let me address these questions. Do we have good reasons to believe that God exists? This is a foundational question to all humankind. I think everyone, every genuine seeker or every individual might have thought about this question, whether you're a Christian or a Hindu or a Muslim or an atheist. You might have, if you are honest or if you're intellectually capable, you might have thought about this question: does God exist? If yes, how can we know? So there is a brand, there is a field in Christian theology known as natural theology. It is a field, it is a practice of philosophically reflecting on existence and nature of God, independent of real and apparent divine revelation of Scripture. It is basically trying to show or demonstrate the existence of God without using Bible or the revealed Scripture. So what these natural theologians do is they basically form philosophical arguments for the existence of God. There are plenty of logically valid, logically sound philosophical arguments, like the moral argument, Kalam cosmological argument. There is teleological argument about the fine tuning of the universe. Then we have argument from consciousness, that is our immaterial mind. Then we have argument from design, argument from beauty. There are numerous more. I couldn't fill those all in this slide. I'm just giving you a general idea of about this. Maybe in our future sessions we can talk about these arguments. The beauty of these arguments are, when you are talking with an atheist, you can present these arguments. You can argue logically. You can demonstrate or use your reason as a tool to show that God exists. It's probable that God exists. You can use moral argument, you can use the cosmological argument, if you know. So in our future sessions we can address that. So this was a general idea: does God exist? I didn't tell about Christianity or Jesus. I didn't tell about Judaism. So it was in a general sense when you're talking to an atheist who doesn't believe in God at all. So at that time, what we have to do first is basically lay down the case for God, as I mentioned, using these arguments. Then we can come to Christianity. Then we can show how Christian theism is true and not any other religion or worldview. So, do we have good reasons to believe that Christianity is true? Yes, because we have very strong cumulative case for the historicity of Jesus' resurrection. We have a very strong historical argument for Jesus' resurrection. For example, that is the central tenet of Christian faith. If resurrection didn't occur, all our faith is in vain. That's what Paul says in 1 Corinthians 13. He says, if Christ was not raised from the dead, our faith is in vain. We all are fools. We all have to be pitied. That's what Paul says, because our Christianity is founded. The foundation of Christianity is this historical bodily resurrection of Jesus Christ. So if you can lay a cumulative case and show that it is historically, it is an historical fact that Jesus rose from the dead, you can show that Christian theism is true. What does that imply? What it means that Christianity is true. Jesus' resurrection happened historically. It means that whatever Jesus said has to be true, because this was the final vindication given of Jesus Christ by God the Father, right? What did Jesus say? He said, I'm the only way, I'm the way, the truth, and life. You can't come to Father except through me. So he was making very exclusive claims there. He claimed to be the Son of Man, the Son of God. He placed himself with God the Father. So that means Jesus is God, right? So it has been vindicated by Christ's resurrection. It also means that he is coming again, because it means we are also going to be raised again. Similarly, Jesus was raised from the dead. So that all are the implications if Christianity is true, or if Christ's resurrection happened historically. Then we can lay a really strong case for the reliability of New Testament. I'm aware that you all have already gone through that sessions in the past. We can know what the disciples wrote are true using the criteria of authenticity. We can make a quick case about the argument from prophecy. We can show that the manuscripts of New Testament were preserved properly, and you can use textual criticism to show that the materials written on these manuscripts were not corrupted. Then we have external evidence of immense archaeological data and extra biblical writings showing and corroborating with this evidences, with this internal evidence that we have. So Christianity is rooted in history, unlike any other religion, unlike Hinduism. You can't test and investigate Hinduism like you can with Christianity. So it can be investigated and tested. Yeah, this is a model question. These are some model questions that I pose, some quick questions that came to my mind, which you are going to face in the future, maybe in colleges, when you are faced with a friend or a relative who is not a Christian, who is an atheist or an agnostic, is going to ask you these questions. If God created everything, who created God? Right? Maybe sometimes we may face this question ourselves in our quiet time. We may think, who created God? Where is God? Why can't we see him? If there is God, why there is so much evil? That is the problem of evil. Then how can we know whether the Bible is God's word? Is the Bible reliable? Most people are good, and you don't need religion to be good. And there is a problem of pluralism. All religions basically worship the same God in different names. That's a pluralistic argument. But Christianity is a exclusive religion. It says that there is only one way to God the Father, right? So then you will face these questions like, Jesus is just one among many gods. Then science has disproven the need for God. You cannot prove God's existence. These are just model questions which came to my mind. I have brought down here. So you all have to be ready to address these questions. If not now, in future you are going to face this, maybe in your own personal life, or someone else is going to ask you these questions. So you need to be ready. So I want to end today's session with this quote. When you're going through hard times and God seems distant, apologetics can help you to remember that our faith is not based on emotions, but on the truth. Therefore, you must hold on to it. As I mentioned earlier, when you are hit by the storms of life, if your faith is blind and it's not founded on strong foundational truths, and rather it is founded on emotions, it is there are high chances that you are going to be saved or knocked down by those tough times. So it's really important that you should have strong foundations for your belief, strong foundations for your faith. So irrespective of what we go through or what mental disposition we are in, we can hold on to Christianity. We can believe Christianity is true, that Jesus rose from the resurrection. uh, why? Because of the fact that Jesus was risen from the dead. Historically, it is an historical fact. Our faith is not based on some feelings or some fantasies or tales or myths. Rather, it is an historical fact that Jesus of Nazareth was risen from the dead. So our faith is founded on that fact. So I want to end by saying that there is help available when you have doubts. You can approach Brother Jayesh. So there is a safety net. You can deal with your doubts in a healthy way. So doubts are good. Questions are good. So don't be discouraged when you have doubt. Don't think that you're less spiritual when you have doubts. Yeah. Also, you can reach out to me. This is my email. Thank you. May God bless you all.
Thank you so much, Brother Alan. That was a very relevant topic, I feel. And I just wanted to ask you guys, if anyone has questions, could you please post it into the chat box if you have any questions for Brother Alan. And while we are waiting for some questions, I just, drew up a few points on what Brother Alan was saying. So as I said, it's a very relevant topic. And you know, in the Bible it says that these are the times, it's a very perverse generation, and it's now important more than ever to know facts